Okay, perfect. Well, this is the May 26th, 2022 Downtown Streetscapes Project Public Art Ad Hoc Committee of the City of Philomath. I'm going to try to call us to order, but we might do this as sort of an informational since we don't have a quorum yet. So I'll start with a roll call. Christopher McMorrin, present. Zena Allen, absent. Ruth Causey,
here.
Sally Duell, absent. Jen Edwards, absent. Shar Fagerston,
I'm here.
Nancy Froelich is absent. Janelle LaJoy is absent, and Peggy Yoder
Is here.
Perfect. And then we are joined by our city staff, Chelsea Starner, and our designers, Deanne and Andrea. So we're going to skip over adoption of the minutes since we don't have a quorum, and we'll just go straight to your informational presentation. And hopefully we will be joined soon by our dear friends. Or maybe we won't be, and then it'll be easy to,
Yeah,
you know.
we'll make a
Yeah.
decision. Right. All right. Well, here we are. Nice to see everybody, and I see Nancy walking in
Oh,
now.
thank God.
So- Or yes, Nancy's on her way. Oh, because that's being recorded. So I guess we met the end of April, I believe, and got a lot of good feedback from the group and good notes, and we took everything into account and went and revised the 3 we showed, and then with the understanding of kind of the visual language direction, developed the other 2, which you have not seen, I believe. We showed 2 before, yeah, or did we show?
We showed 3.
3 before, and we're going to.
And I just want to interrupt really
Sure.
quick. So we have in the record that Janelle LaJoy and Nancy Froelich joined the meeting at 5:05 p.m. And Janelle is on Zoom.
Great.
All right, sorry, go ahead. So we now have a quorum, everybody.
excellent.
We can pass things.
Yeah, so we worked on our refinements, and we actually printed out 1 draft, full scale. It was very helpful. Chelsea printed that out, and we really looked at that and then made some revisions. And then I think we have of those 5, and then we did another set of changes, and the printouts we will show you guys tonight, full scale. So yeah, that's where we're at. So we're going to show you some of these are not the only changes. There were just so many to include, and things like we actually made an executive decision on this change. This wasn't talked about necessarily at the last meeting. Hate to say this, but we took the oak tree out, and
Okay.
We tried to fix it. and
we
it
tried
was
desperately.
hopeless.
It just looks too much like cauliflower every time in a tree, and it's just very simplified. It's very tough, and it just stood out too much
Okay.
in the middle. So we went for another direction. We did the breaks more consistently with fauna or flora, I should say, not fauna.
That's right.
Flora, excuse me.
Flora.
That's a typo. We refined all the weights for consistency and added details to make sure there was more balance between the line art and the black. And we changed the woodpecker. We did other changes too, but this was just, our process, some of that. Yeah, so this is I think a good slide to bring everybody in to show. Round 1 was 3 months ago, where just the direction was chosen in the top left. Then the second round was the direction that we went in, that we had discussion on, and moved us into we feel a much better direction ultimately, which was round 3. And from round 3, we're into round 4 here, and sort of 4-5 with some revisions. So this is the final for the mixed conifer as it stands now.
So this is the one it's changed the least from what we talked about last time. It was the one that seemed like it was the most buttoned up, but we have just basically done some refinements here with particularly here in this lower right quadrant, getting it to feel a little bit less up and down and more like it's actually come, you can approach it in 4 directions. We looked at also mixing up some of them being recessed versus embossed, debossed, embossed, so that visually they won't actually look that much different, but they will have a little bit different feeling, I guess. Like how much is highlighted?
Yeah, the last round, you saw that the pine cones were all black with a white line, and we made some linear this time because it just felt too heavy down there. And I don't think there are many more changes there, just trying to even it out.
Looks good.
And then we've got the rivers and riparian. We added detail. Well, you might want to respond to this because
Sure.
Deanne.
The frogs were problematic last time. They felt like they were overly simplified, just like dark blobs in comparison to some of the others. So I added in some highlighting that was more specific to the tree frog that is in our area, so that it's a bit more directed to this place. We last time had the waves from the river idea breaking through, but in order to bring more consistency in across all 5, we're breaking it with the flora. And then we got rid of like the kissing of the turtles and things. So overall, we feel like it's a lot more balanced. Not only within the composition itself, but also across the 5, like it ties in a little better with the other 4. And then another thing we've done to all 5 is with the textural elements that are there to balance the space as well as to provide some traction. We brought in more of the little dots and kind of evened them out throughout. So that's some of the big changes there. Anything else on this one?
No, that's that on that one. I think the next one, the oak savanna, we took the oak tree out. That's probably the largest change on that. Plus, we removed the acorn from the edges that was breaking through, and we put feathers there and added the acorn to the composition within it. And
It would not qualify, I suppose, as flora, but it is something on the same scale.
Correct. We also, did you change the woodpecker on this one, or was it already?
We changed it for the last round.
one. Okay.
So it had moved from a generic woodpecker to an acorn woodpecker. So
And,
kind of a big theme throughout is making everything much more specific.
yeah, and sort of balancing out everything. So that's the oak savanna.
Oh, also featured in my earrings
Yes.
tonight.
Oh,
She does
my.
really pretty earrings. Yeah, very nice. This is a new one. This is meadows. Yeah,
New butterflies,
new butterflies,
new
red-winged
lilies.
blackbirds. Those
Those were in the last one, too, I believe.
bluebirds.
Oh, one big change we've made across them is standardizing the exact distance that it's breaking for each of the 2 spaces where the circle breaks. So now we're kind of working from a template at this point now, so that they could be laid on top of each other. So those were pulled out and made to be similar sizing to all the others too. We also added the pieces of the loop in here as a textural element to bring in both texture for traction, and there's a lot of like little teeny tiny flowers in the meadows here that nobody can really, I know, not nobody, many people in this town probably can exactly identify all of them, but I can't. So the idea of having like maybe little bits of flowers that.
What are the, to me, they look like nuclear symbols. What are those, the 2 of them on with the band? What are those?
On the outer edge.
On the outer edge?
Those are the leaf from the lupin.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see the leaf.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Last
The
one,
last one.
Is the wetlands.
Another one. I like that.
and we played around here with what did we change?
This
The
is
birds?
kind of all new,
All
actually.
new, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys
Yep.
have seen this one, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one. Oh, I like all of them. Don't get me wrong.
It's a long one,
That
though.
just, there's just something about that one.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one's featuring the camas, the heron, which was in our original design for wetlands, but was one of those things that was like way too detailed and called a lot of attention to itself. From one of our early meetings as well, there was the idea of bringing in a bluebird or some of the other small songbirds that was inspired by a bluebird down here, but it could be many birds that are small. And then we're pulling the open flowers from the camas in as our breakthrough element.
Nice.
And grasses.
And grasses and geese.
Geese, yeah.
And we have mock-ups of each of the 5, and we also have the large printouts, so we can look at them with some detail.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's mixed conifer, meadows, oak savanna, rivers, and then wetlands. And then we also want to talk tonight a bit about the burnishing, because that was one of the things that we had as an element that we could play with early on. And we've had some more thought then about how we might want to put that into practice here. And our idea is to have it only burnishing on the outer ring and text, and have all of the elements that are in the center of the composition be essentially the way the little bees are here, so that the name and the biome ends up being like the first read as you walk up.
Cool.
Attempted to make a mock-up of this, way harder than I expected. Can't really tell, but the idea is that they would have slightly more attention being called to the outer ring, and then as you approach, you can get more into the details in the center, because the burnishing will cause it to kind of become first in the hierarchy.
I think that's all. we
And I think
have.
that's it.
But we have
So,
the full scale.
full scale and comments.
Yes, and I have been requested to give a little spiel before we get into things.
Okay.
Just that I hope you all like them, because we will not be having a full-on critique session tonight. We're essentially just going to be giving a thumbs up or thumbs down. And when I say that, I mean, we're just going to be giving a thumbs up. If there are very minor, like, we wanted to like change the font or something, they could probably do that. But just the timeline of getting this
Minor
before city
tweaks,
council,
right,
yeah.
with those who feel something is.
Like if it were literally like something
Had to move. a
might
little
need to
bit.
Right,
shift a little,
right,
but not
right.
changes to the
Yeah,
design.
So we're not, we're
Yeah.
not changing the
Yep.
theme or the feel, we're just changing, like, if you have a specific note of like, the bird should move half an inch to the left, I'm sure they'd be
Looks
happy
like
to
a
move the
bat.
bird half an inch to the left. But just for logistics, we do need to get these approved tonight and then in front of the city council
Yeah.
at the beginning of next month. So, sorry. So that being said, thank you both very much
Yeah.
for all your work on this.
Should we
Yes.
maybe place these out on the
Yes.
floor?
Yeah, I'm gonna help with that. That's over here.
Really kind of fun to see them big, but again, black and white isn't really gonna be.
No, you have to, yeah, and remember we
remember.
talked about before, the black and white is not exactly how it will look.
But they are actual size.
actual size.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So these are 2 feet.
Yeah.
Oh, and I see Janelle. Janelle, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Maybe she can't. Let me see.
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
These are so amazing. You guys have done such a great job. I can't even, like, they're so beautiful. And when I look at the first, second, and third, thank you for putting those together for us so that we can like reflect on how far we've come with all of this, right? Like, they're so amazing. The only thing that I have to say is like the wetlands. the wetlands still feels a little bit like a quadrant to me, and I'm wondering, and I know what Chris just said, and so I'm Christopher, so I'm not, but I wonder if those waves could just be like cut in half or something.
Yep.
Or maybe like shift, like cut in half and shifted a half an inch or something. So it doesn't just make that line across the center between the
Yeah, we could take a look at that.
camas. I don't, and I mean, they're so beautiful, and like we've all said, they're never going to be seen next to each other, but that one just struck me a little bit as like it still felt quadranty to me.
What does everyone else feel about
Yeah.
that? Because that is one thing that I'd like to do here is that the singular decisions are probably not gonna just thank you for them, but we need to get a little bit more of a consensus on, let's do that instead of just.
For sure.
So no offense, Janelle, we
No.
appreciate your feedback. I just like to hear what other people think about what Janelle's talking about on this one.
I
Janelle,
appreciate that.
yes, and I'm sorry, I know what we're doing now is not
Yeah.
easy for you to
Apologize.
Yeah, let us-
participate
we
in.
Hopefully you
can
can
film
see
it
it
back
on the
and
screen.
forth.
Yeah, wait, can we like point the TV this way so she can see? Does it move?
No.
Okay.
Please do not. It took me, I was in here for 40 minutes trying to get this set up correctly.
I won't touch anything.
I'll just hit forward and back like we changed stuff.
Oh, sure, okay.
So she's talking about these lines,
Yeah.
so everyone knows what she's.
I don't know if we're raising our hand or, I don't know.
Yeah,
Whatever.
you are.
Maybe they just don't need to exactly mirror each other in their scale, because, you know, there's a lot of like flow and movement happening, and maybe because they're mirroring each other, it's catching our eye. I don't know, more than the other waves. I would say that's one thing that we tried to directly avoid in some of the others that, well, like especially I would say the rivers, we made a lot of changes trying to move things across those polar lines so that it wouldn't have that same issue. So, and in this one, the only element that is breaking across is
Yeah.
the bluebird. So I think it's valid.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I do really like the look of this.
Just don't want to, yeah, I guess it's
Explain
one thing,
that.
it's changing
So
it
it's-
too
it's
much
not-
to be.
I mean, it is a little bit of a puzzle. It isn't
Right.
that easy to just kind of shift a couple
Right.
things. and
Right.
do it. I think, what I like about this is the energy of this,
Yeah.
like this to
Yeah.
this to this to this. So they're hard shapes to work with because they are mostly curvilinear in this one. But this does maybe add to a division here, like that and that.
Right.
And so I think it's possible that even turning, either cutting that or having it less across, maybe one here, or
Yep.
eliminating it might help a little bit. Or adding a few more of those
Yeah.
secondary elements could.
I think it's possible that we could reduce the quadrant effect without actually having to rearrange the major elements.
Yeah,
If we
in
just
sizes and
trim
stuff.
that wavy line
Yeah.
and add some texture.
And add some texture, yeah.
And because Janelle, your only problem was with the wavy lines, right? Like the rest of the sort of arrangement you're fine with.
I love the whole thing, and I was just, and of course I can't see what you guys are pointing to or anything, but that's fine. When I look at this slide though, I look at, okay, so if I look at the left side of the circle, yes. So that, yes, that, what if you doubled that, put another wave on top of that wave, and then maybe cut it in half, made one end longer than the other so that it goes in with kind of the wave that is underneath the left
Yeah,
pelican.
yeah,
Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
so then like that little like one hump wave that you have on underneath the left pelican. And then if you took that big wave in between and sort of
yeah.
doubled it, but then also, did that with it. I don't,
No, I think we're good,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think we got it.
I don't know if they're gonna do exactly what you
But
described,
they're
but
gonna check it out.
they understand the spirit of what you're going for.
Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know, just something so that because it's so beautiful. It's just that
We'll double check on
Okay,
that.
should
be. Yeah.
I mean, I still feel like we have to double, triple check scale of those elements of these to this, to
Yep.
this, to this.
Okay.
And also, I do want to point out, just to ask people how these feathers are going out, these feathers, these pine cones are going in, and the grasses are going out. If that's, did you notice that? That we, there was a comment before about when somebody walks, it brings them into it. I think that was you, Nancy, last week.
Just your eyeball.
Your eyeballs, so they could be turned, and I don't know how people feel about that. Rich-
I flipped them at one point and they didn't work.
Okay,
Okay.
fair enough.
Those particular ones.
Yeah.
It might
Yeah.
work if we'd switched it to these here. But
Yeah.
like this
Okay.
is so light that it kind of.
Yeah,
has
it's
like a
got
show.
Yeah. Okay, just wanted to point that out
Yeah,
before
it
people
didn't
got.
stand out to
Okay.
me, but
before it was
Janelle,
passed.
just so you know, we're talking about the feathers that are on the outer edge that
Yeah.
come out to the outer edge.
I guess just maybe
awesome.
we can kind of check things off.
Yep.
Are we happy with this one?
we-
and
we
We
beyond?
know,
we're
we'll
good with
look
that.
at that, yeah, that.
I
one.
just, no other
Just
comments
that
about
one.
this?
Yeah.
Okay.
my only thing is, and I said this
Yeah.
to Andrew, just
Yeah.
nitpick spacing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it actually?
And you'll do that before
I
we.
can tell if it's an
Yeah.
optical illusion or if it's like the
No.
top, like.
Yeah.
We'll double
It could be
check
like
that.
that.
Yeah,
My first, when I first saw it, screamed Christmas. Cause to me, those are
yeah, the
reindeer,
reindeer.
yeah, which we don't have in
That's
here.
tricky. That's a
It-
tricky
But
one.
it did,
Yeah,
that's
but-
exactly what I thought, well,
Yeah,
Christmassy.
I know. Mm.
Yeah, that was just my
Unless
feeling,
we
but
can-
I could be the only one.
I was saying, unless you can make it look more like an elk or something, but I don't know how you do that cartoonishly in a way that makes a
Yeah.
difference, so.
You can change the direction, well, elk antlers sweep backward, which does make
That's
it
true.
more like, at one point, we've drawn an elk in profile
Oh,
because
yeah.
of the way that
Oh,
the antlers go
yeah.
back,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
kind of have to be
That
in
might be
profile.
something to explore.
I could
It's
be
valid.
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 Body silhouette, I know that we're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
We
I
tried
mean-
that, and the problem is scale.
Yeah.
It has to be
Yeah.
so little.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, I think it's a minor thing. If this is what ends up being best, I think that's
Okay.
great.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll look at that.
I love how you've got some of the leaves in relief and some opposite.
That's really cool.
Yeah, is that something that could be replicated with the feathers? Is that a simple switch or no?
Doing
You know what I mean?
Like
Like,
you did these two.
yeah, it's like two
Oh, I
of them were
see.
down
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
some are up.
So when you
Just to
say
kinda-
down and up, I just want to have a clarity
Mhm.
moment here of,
Reminds me of like when I go to
Yeah.
haircuts
Yeah.
sometimes.
Oh my
And I say, I want this, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
You know what we're talking about, right?
so the process is these, all the black could be standing up, could be
Mhm.
debossed up,
Mhm.
and then this would all be embossed down. And or it could be the opposite of that, which would be strange, I think. to
It
have-
would be
have the
too,
light,
right,
yeah.
right.
it would-
Okay.
So, but that means that there are areas that, we're not really seeing exactly how it's
Yeah.
gonna look.
Right,
That's the
right.
tricky part with this. And there's no way that we can get a prototype.
Right.
Yeah.
that-
I can't.
Even plastic won't work, yeah.
I think
Well-
that these guys could be used as an outline. There's enough happening in the fill too. We're talking about these guys here.
I guess unless we can like 3D print something.
We
But it
cannot.
Okay.
Yeah.
yes.
And again, we have to remember too, that when you see it in metal, it will not have, like, when we're seeing it here, it's a
Right.
very obvious difference.
right.
And when you look at it in metal, it'll be a lot more subtle,
Yeah.
so.
That's
very true.
So as long as you have variety, I don't think it's gonna be like, why is that thing? It'll be, it's that we wanna have variety
Yeah.
where, some things are and
So
some
I
things
mean,
aren't.
we're, the reason I started talking was, we're not gonna go through each eye kind of go
No.
raised,
Right.
lowered, raised,
Yeah.
raised.
No.
No.
No. Don't worry.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Okay.
on this one, if you have something that you
Yeah.
feel like how do people feel about the deer? Where
I-
these
I think
coming
it's
from?
worth
Does
an
anyone else?
exploration.
Yeah.
Do you like
It
them?
wasn't my
What do you
first
think?
thought that it was Christmas, but I see that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think we can explore that
Yep.
a little bit, just, we got a little time.
You're
Okay.
not
There's
Christmas.
other elements that are not Christmas.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not like, the deer and then like a conifer tree and then like.
Right,
little-
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Snowdrift.
Yeah,
Right.
we're in that reference, right, yeah.
What we-
I just want to say one other thing though, but it's just the head and everything else has its body.
Full body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
That
And
is
it
true.
feels like it has been on someone's wall or something. Maybe it's
I
okay.
know, so how
We do have
about,
that out here.
It's true.
I mean, the scale, the problem is if we did one,
Then it would just
one
seem like,
deer, it's gonna be the only thing
Right.
that has one
Yeah.
scale.
Which was
Yeah.
the reason we got rid of the tree.
Okay.
Right, because the tree was the main
Yeah.
Got it.
focus, so
right.
it could be two small, full-bodied side deer or elk, but they're gonna be really
Yeah.
small.
Really tiny, yeah.
But a silhouette of an elk could, I mean, once you look at it, it could look good.
Silhouette head,
That's just a head,
it wouldn't
yeah.
look like it's sitting on the wall that way, like this.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then,
Just staring at you while it eats your garden. That's what I always think of it.
Janelle, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, could the antlers just be a little bit more squishy or something so it's not so cartoony? But again, that's a nitpicky thing at the end. That's all I was just, if people are thinking it's Christmassy or whatever, I think it's just like if you squish the antlers in a little bit more, then it would be like,
And more, maybe this way,
These are highly abstracted into like a geometric
Right.
shape
Yes.
versus.
because of the circular, that they're giving the illusion of the circular.
and once they're on bronze, it's not gonna make a difference anyway. You're totally correct. Like, no one's gonna notice it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, that
sorry.
one I think.
No, you're good.
So we can make the.
All right. It's time for our meadows.
I think that.
I would like to
is
take
just
this on my
beautiful.
wall.
The only
How about
thing-
t-shirts?
Yes, I would buy a t-shirt.
Yeah,
with a-
definitely.
Patches?
The only
Yeah,
thing that's like,
t-shirts. Yeah.
and I don't know if this is how it's supposed to be, the only thing that's weirding me out is like these little like. where
Where they're
Yes.
touching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of
Okay.
them do
Yeah.
that they're touching.
It's one of those things that you see when it's big.
Right, no, sure, yeah. Otherwise, I think it's great.
No.
Yeah, but the last
Sure,
two that you
doesn't-
did both have an overlapping element, and it's not bad.
It just, that one looks more intentional because it's like a whole leaf overlapping, not just like the very
Oh.
It's a
tip
little
edge
too-
of the leaf.
Almost
and
like
then
if they were
Yeah.
touching,
Right.
it would be okay,
Yeah.
but then
Right,
it
it's like-
Yeah, I
extends
think we
the
yeah.
extension.
It just looks like you
boundaries.
didn't mean it to touch,
Yeah.
but it's like
No, you're
accident,
right,
you know, it's
that's,
like,
we say that all the time.
yeah, okay, yeah.
That's a no now.
It's creating tension.
Yeah.
Sorry. I wonder if any of the butterflies could be opposite, like you did with the feathers or the pine cones, but there's something about it that seems, well, what I love about the ones we've already talked about is it's like organized chaos,
Yeah.
right? Like there seems like a rhyme and reason to things. This one just feels like a little bit more chaotic, and I don't know if it's the strawberries. I feel like my eye's not quite sure how to move around it, but I don't know, I feel like breaking up maybe the butterflies into being reversed. Yeah, I think we can look at that.
I kind of enjoy the chaos. of it.
I actually like it.
Yeah.
I honestly, I like
No,
that
but
about
I do
it.
think changing the butterflies
Yeah.
could be cool.
Yeah,
I just-
because
'cause-
people could come up and go, let's see
Right,
what's in
right.
here. I mean, they could linger.
I think it's-
longer, so to
You
speak.
have more of a variety of small things in this
Mhm.
one, maybe than the
Right,
others.
some of the other ones don't.
There's
look
like
as much. Yeah.
hashtags, there's little, I know they're not duck feet, but and then there's the dots. And then
Lupins, two lupins.
and I know these are attached to the strawberries, but they feel very similar
Right,
to,
okay.
so it's just like,
Yeah,
a little
I
bit
think from
more.
where they,
Sure.
I mean, those maybe could come out with these.
I don't dislike it,
I
I'm
don't
just.
know.
Oh, I like
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
I don't know. How does everyone else feel?
I think
Just
if
a
they
week.
were gone, it would be
To
missing,
it
it
would
would
be missing something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do like the idea of like changing like that butterfly to be inverted. or
Mhm.
something.
Inverted,
Just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
with the pine cones.
Mhm.
If it looks
Exactly.
good, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It would
Does
open
nobody
up.
else see the atomic?
I do see what you mean.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Is it because of
And
the dots? as
Part of
well?
it, if they were
maybe.
solid, they wouldn't probably look like that as much because this looks like a
Right.
flower.
Yes.
This does look like that atomic symbol, but I think here it's fine, and I think it's the dots.
It could be the
It
dog.
might
I think the
actually
dots
even
make it
But
look,
the dots are on
better.
all of them.
they
so
are, so you
Right,
almost
okay.
would,
Maybe make. them
how would anyone
smaller,
feel if they were
solid
solid?
and smaller slightly,
That could work.
because they're solid on a lot of these things.
I think solid would work perfectly fine.
that would resolve what you're
Okay.
seeing, and I don't disagree with you that it does look, I mean, I'm not saying it looks bad, it looks kind of funky and retro, but
Yeah.
it does have that look about it with those dots. It reminds me of like some of those lamps that you get with the, it has the shape and the little, yeah.
Anything else about this? Are we
No, I
happy?
think it's great.
And Janelle not raising her hand?
I am raising my hand.
Okay.
You
all
can
right.
just, no.
Of course I am. I'm just wondering if that butterfly the large one on the bottom left, if you just turned that like 45 degrees-ish, obviously it's not, but if you just turned it there, would that solve the whole issue? I think it could still fit in between the wings of the other two, and then it would kind of like make it
I think she's saying to shift it. because-
so that everything isn't directional. It would give a diagonal.
I don't know if the directional
Yeah.
was the issue, it's more like the heaviness of the dart.
Gotcha.
Like all the butterflies
the
being dark.
direction, it looked too strange.
Yeah, I
to
think
have
if
it
you just
slightly-
could even change one of those to be
Yeah.
opposite, the bigger, like that one that Janelle was talking about, that probably would bring your eye more cohesive with the other, lighter elements. We call them lighter, even though when they end up in the metal, that would be what
Yes.
you'll call them, but
They're so pretty though.
Yeah, I shouldn't talk about, but,
you can talk all you want.
do they need the perch? Because the woodpecker doesn't have a tree. And that bird doesn't have a perch. I'm just wondering about these lines, like, do they add something or?
I think that we've talked about the lines
Have
several
we?
times and
Okay.
it's a very big thing for you with your
It's just-
designing thing. But in the past, other people have said the lines didn't bother.
Okay,
them.
it's-
And see, there's,
There.
yeah, we've got a perch here and we do have lines in
I
these
think
of
actually
other
woodpeckers
sorts, I
do
think.
Does he add one out? Okay.
Yeah.
I also don't really mind the purchase because I feel like the line sort of goes with the hash mark, like just sort of a
Okay.
weird
I
abstract.
think it also fits kind of nicely with the stem of the loop in.
Yeah.
A little bit in that way.
Like, I hear what
Adds to
you're
the
saying.
chaos
Yeah, it's just,
that I
it gets a
like.
little.
I don't know why.
Right, I was
Well,
looking
it's
at
just
that.
how it-
They don't have to be
Chaos.
done.
This could move
That's
around
true.
a little
These are
bit. Yeah,
all-
we could align that
Yeah.
right there and move it apart just a little
Right.
bit. so it's
More
not so
white
tight.
space to
Yeah.
maintain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
just when I squint and I don't look at them as objects, like the lines come forward, but I know I gotta remember.
But it's gonna be
this is
cast
gonna
in bronze. don't
Totally.
forget.
Yeah.
You're never gonna do that.
Significantly less,
Much more subtle than.
yeah,
Yeah.
not as
Yeah.
much contrast.
Yeah.
Much
Yeah.
subtler.
That's what's so hard.
It is
That's
very
gonna make me
hard.
Crazy
Yeah.
now. Just like that.
Right, yeah. Okay, perfect.
All
Okay,
right,
good
great.
feedback.
Forests.
I'm gonna move so other numbers.
I think, isn't there
It
something?
doesn't
in-
bother me, but it's the only one.
Well, isn't there
It
something in
bothers you.
Everyone that
Oh, I
touches,
just
right?
noticed. Because it's
I'm
touching.
used to seeing
We don't like touching.
Okay. That's something that- Actually, Savannah doesn't either, but the cattails and the grass, it really like the grass. Okay.
It
I don't
kind of felt
mind.
like it needed to be attached there.
It looks
really
great.
It just was like floating.
Right. I feel like it'd be one of those things.
The
where if
one
you
on
want
the
to attach
left,
it,
the
like,
one
why is it
left.
just
Yeah.
attached?
Whichever. I say that, but you're all standing in a different spot. The one on Char's bottom left, is that what we're talking about?
The one at Forest?
That one's
Oh, I
too
think the
close.
one at
The-
Forest. That's the one
Uh-huh.
I'm looking at.
That's the one I was
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
at too.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's touching, that one's very close.
Right.
Not quite.
The very close one needs.
Again, we can leave that just a tad.
I think the one that is touching on the side by the forests,
What about it?
I think it adds kind of a little,
Yeah.
like a little
That's nice.
quirky element to it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a little,
Yeah,
it's
And
like it's
some of them
growing out of the
touch.
side,
that was just a
which
choice.
looks kind of organic to me.
Some do.
Otherwise, I think it's great.
Yep.
Am I missing a Chanel comment?
Yeah, Janelle?
You know?
You don't have to have a comment.
Yeah, you don't.
We're just, we can't see.
Again, just speak up if you have something.
Thanks. I think I'm good on that one. I appreciate that though a lot.
Rivers, red parrot.
I really like the beaver stand out. Beaver stayed.
Yeah.
I like that.
Go bees.
That's right. Go bees.
Notice, yeah, there's not a single duck anywhere on any.
We
of
were
them.
not tempted to draw that.
So the beavers
the black will be,
recessed or raised, or
They'll be raised.
raised, yeah, so. That would collect a lot of water if it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It would, it would.
So they will be actually lighter than what's below.
Lighter only if they're burnished, I mean.
But you're, yeah,
We're not
we're thinking of
showing-
not
If they're
burnishing.
not burnished, those things.
But with the natural wear,
But and
With a
be
wind.
more
Stepping
light
on
will
them.
hit it and then
Yeah,
what falls in the
that's-
shadow.
Yeah,
And it won't have mud collecting in it.
right.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, it'll change over time, didn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just
They
the-
will, according to
Organic
Rich, they will
content.
change over time.
Yeah.
Were
Yeah.
these sent to Rich?
We did send
Yeah.
him the preliminary designs
And
of
everything
the
is-
first one.
Yeah,
Yeah, he said they look
He
good.
wasn't like, absolutely.
No, he was like, they're very cool
They're very
and
cool. They're
keep going.
beautiful.
Let's
Okay,
get
good.
these made.
You should be proud. When you see these, you'll be very
Oh,
proud.
He will, he will also come, as I told
Portfolio,
you. He'll come take
definitely.
pictures.
Yes, right.
We'll check on them.
Ruth wanted to make a comment.
Yes.
oh my gosh, they're
I
so
think this
good.
works,
Yeah, I agree.
I think this works really well because it's.
Oh, that's
base.
right.
That's really
Mhm,
nice.
mhm.
I thought maybe
But
one
that
was gonna get
one,
voted off. though.
It's just,
It's not the base.
it's not the base.
Hmm,
I think that's why that one.
That's kind of true. Oh, we're just saying that the cattail work's coming off the edge because it's like the base of the plant,
Yeah.
whereas that's not the base of the
Oh.
plant.
Where the other ones have a little water.
Like it might work if like that tree was coming out of the base or
Hmm.
something, you
Could
know,
do that,
instead
maybe.
of the, I don't know.
Move the tree down and just let that thing float. We could do that.
It's up to
I'm
you.
good with
I
This
don't-
guy, you're talking about moving this down,
Right.
to share
Yeah.
that line. Yeah, that would be nice.
I'm gonna just grab a pen here.
Because that one,
Since we're.
the grass is really
This
growing.
pen,
big.
can I
Right,
borrow
right.
this pen?
Yeah. Do you want to
Somebody's-
draw on them and take it with you?
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
draw it.
There you go.
I'm just gonna move this down to here, attach.
I think you sure noticed this, but this is really close.
Yeah. we did.
Yeah, we'll do something like that too. And then this will, no attach, okay.
For Janelle's purposes, we're working on moving things away from the edge a little bit.
Or
And for
towards the
everyone
edge.
else, you can't see it.
Towards the edge.
Or toward the edge, something, yes,
Okay.
away and toward.
Any other thoughts on the rivers and riparian?
I really like the changes that you made on that. It looks really
I
good.
love the turtles. I
Yeah,
love
they're
the
very cute.
Me too.
Jointed front legs. They're cool.
Okay.
Are all 5 of them being cast or just 4?
Well, that's what I want. So what do you need? Are we picking 4 and then having an alternate, or are we sending?
We're going to adopt all of them.
Okay,
We can, we'll probably ask the council to make the decision on which 4
Okay,
they would like
okay.
to see. Yeah, you can make a recommendation if you want, if you can agree on it in 5 minutes. But we're going to keep them all because our hope is
right. I just wasn't
that,
sure if you needed us to.
right, we've got
recommend
that
the
property
4.
down on 14th.
Right,
it is,
right, right,
And
yeah.
the thought is that when something happens with that, that we'll take the additional one that hasn't been cast and have it cast
Sure,
for
okay.
that property to tie in the whole damn
Why
time.
not cast them all at this point?
Because we don't have a, well, we could, I mean,
That'll be more
it's more
expensive.
expensive. So for
Yeah.
each additional cast, it's like $2,000 or $3,000 just to cast that additional one. It's not, we could do that, but I'd like it to be a council level decision because it will.
I was gonna say, if you want to give us the
Okay,
money,
budget.
yeah.
But we could, what it would mean is that there'll be an uneven number, which is fine because they won't all be close to each other. And what we could do is look more specifically, and I could even send you that because it might make more sense to you. But I could show you where they're set out and you could say, look, if we put 4 there and 1 there, it's gonna look really off. Maybe we could add an additional
But
one
why
there.
not cast them all, but hold a few back until the property is ready?
I think just financially is why, and we don't know that it will go on the property. We don't know exactly what's happening with that property yet. If I knew more,
Right.
I would say yes, but we'll keep the designs. And so if we want to do that, we'll just get a hold of Rich and say, we want to cast the additional one, let's make it happen.
Judging by the fact that the member of the committee who is a city councilor is the
Yes.
one advocating for printing all five, then I agree we should probably just send all
Well,
five to the
I'm
city
just
council.
wondering the likelihood of it being less expensive in the future.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah, everything,
And
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering if they're cast at a different point in time.
If it
or
changes
perhaps by a
Right.
different
Would
vendor.
change like
Mhm.
in the, you don't know, maybe the bronze
Mhm.
color might be
Right.
something
different
different
ash.
or
Yep.
different.
Yeah. Yeah, let's have that conversation and maybe talk about it a little bit between now and the council meeting.
Sure.
Yeah.
Um,
See what we can find out.
okay, anything else, or maybe we should sit back down just so people can see us on the video, if there's nothing else.
No worries. No, I
Sorry,
could
I'm
not get
back.
that. You're fine.
We still gonna do the approval of minutes this week?
Yes.
We'll do that at the end.
At the
yeah,
end,
yeah.
But I would like us to entertain a motion.
Yes,
To
absolutely.
recommend these
Um,
5 designs with the changes.
I will entertain a
Something like
motion
that.
to recommend these 5 designs pending the minor changes that we have requested to the city council at the June 13th meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Janelle's hand is-
Oh, Janelle?
Thank you. She just, maybe it's just still up.
Maybe that was a hand from before.
Janelle, did you have your hand up?
I did, but honestly, it was like up a long time ago and now I forgot what I was gonna say. so-
Sorry.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. We're still learning how to do these hybrid
It's
meetings.
very hard. when you-
Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest.
Okay, well, then we are at the, do you have any discussion of the motion?
I just want to say that I really appreciate how beautiful these designs are, how much work you guys have done for us, and how quickly you've been able to adjust to whatever our whims are. I really do appreciate that. And I think that the whole thing is beautiful. And now I've remembered what I was going to say, which is we should just, I think, submit all of them, in my opinion, to the city council. They are so wonderful and so fantastic that we just, I mean, who knows? They might approve all of them. They might approve a few more places for them. They might have find some money in a pocket of somewhere. I don't know. So I think that we should just go ahead and send all of them to them and hope that we can, like Ruth said, get them all cast at once and just move forward.
Sure, thank you. Any other discussion of the motion? Seeing none, then all in favor, if you can raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed, and Janelle, I can't see you, so
You
how,
say aye.
how do you vote?
Quietly.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Then the vote is unanimous to recommend these 5 to the city council. And then just before we finish up, I also wondered if we have an update on what we ended up going with for bike rack.
Yes, do you happen to have can you dig that up while we approve the minutes? Okay, let's approve the minutes
Okay,
while they
sure.
look for that.
So now that we have a quorum, we can go back and approve our minutes from the April 27th, 2022 meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, any discussion?
I have a question.
Okay,
It seemed like on the bike rack discussion, I remember us having a vote, and I think it was on the bike rack. Seemed like there was a vote. Maybe I'm not remembering correctly, like, does anybody else
For
actually
which
making,
design?
because we haven't been making votes, we've been,
Right.
just not where there was actually a vote. We raised up our hands.
I-
Who liked,
I can review that, and if there was a vote, I will add it so you can adopt them as
Okay.
amended
I don't know if we took a
The
formal
additional
vote, if it was
votes.
more like any opposition
Was it
type
on
of.
the, on the Mary's
So they have-
Peak?
You can, yeah, it was either on the Mary's Peak or whether
Yeah.
or not to
You
keep a
guys
fight.
haven't seen
Why don't we give
actually
you
what
our-
we
Right,
did.
right.
I'm
that's
sorry.
right.
We'll get there.
Just-
Let's
I
stick with the
think-
minutes
Oh,
first.
yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah.
I think maybe what we did is we didn't take a formal vote, but Chelsea had us go around and everyone said
What they did and didn't like.
And so it kind of felt like a vote because it was like, I like
No,
Mary's
I think at the
Peak.
end we did, and
Okay.
it was,
Okay.
would you be okay with?
Okay,
Maybe-
so I will
maybe
review that
something.
and I will
Okay.
add that to the minutes if there was a vote.
Okay,
I will
So-
add what the vote was.
How do you want to do, should we table this until the next meeting then, or should we?
You could approve them with that change. Either if there was a vote, I will add it as an addition. If there was not, or we can bring them back. It's up to you.
You made the motion, what do you think?
Um, Well, since we have to decide on it tonight.
Yeah, this is just for the minutes. We can bring them back. I can check on it.
This is just, we
Bring
want
them
to
back.
table the minutes until next
Do you want to just
meeting.
table them until the next meeting?
What would you like?
or we could approve the minutes with the potential that there could be an amendment. If
That
there really
feels weird.
was.
Let's just table it.
Yeah, let's
I
just
think,
table
is
it.
Okay.
Why, I don't know, we shouldn't approve something that isn't.
Yeah, let's
done.
let's make sure it's
So-
complete.
Yes, okay,
Okay.
so,
I just have an edit on page 2 of 2. Under rivers and riparian discussion, the third bullet, could you say fewer logs instead of less?
Yes.
Oh, Bruce.
We're soul sisters. Me too.
My whole
I'm a
life is
fewer,
spent
less
like
person
grammatically
amount
correcting.
and among or between.
My whole life
amount.
used to be spent that way until I worked for cities. It's very sad.
now you're like.
My mother is an English major and a
Oh, yeah,
teacher, and
yeah.
that's how I grew up in my life. And then it was like, how fast can I get these minutes done? I have 5 minutes before my next meeting. It's like,
Okay,
but
then-
yes, I will change that.
I will move to table the minutes until our next meeting.
Second.
Okay, is there any opposition to that? Perfect. And Janelle, I don't see any opposition on your end. So, yeah. Okay, perfect. Then we'll table that until our next meeting. So then if we would just, and just to clarify for everyone, these, as far as I understand, these designs have already been submitted
It's been
because of the.
submitted to ODOT
Yes.
as part of the
Right.
PS&E.
So this is just for our edification based on our.
This is what went to
feedback.
ODOT.
Yes.
Yes.
Which again, I apologize, but that was what we ended up having to do with the timeline that we have. So
But it looks great.
there we go. Thank you, Chelsea. So,
Had our
yeah,
first business owner
That would be
actually
great,
ask
yes.
about it and got to see it, so it looks great.
beautiful.
All right,
Oh, yay.
so, yeah, we had met on a Wednesday and they had to go
Yes,
out on Friday.
Oh,
So we couldn't
Yeah.
run them by you guys.
No,
Fast.
it's fantastic.
It was very
Oh, I
fast.
love it.
It
Yeah,
looks really good.
that's perfect.
Even if there is no bug.
That's very nice.
It works
Self-explanatory.
really
That was
well.
like
Yeah.
bike
There'll be
rack.
plenty of light.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
And some of the changes that we made also were based on feedback from the fabricator on
Okay.
Yeah.
potential for.
Fingers getting
Oh.
caught,
Yeah.
sharp
So
edges, so
all the
they did.
lines
They
are
even had to make a
nice.
change in that short amount of time, so.
Yeah.
Good job on that.
They were
Yeah.
concerned
It's a good
that some of the
turnaround.
trees could be pushed forward
And, like,
and
break
then
off
made into a
potentially, or
weapon.
make it-
Oh, dear.
So we made
Wow.
everything
Yeah.
multiple points of contact. so that-
That's why we pay them to look at those things, I guess, right?
You know, I'm glad you said that because I had wondered about vandalism.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they picked up on that.
And I'm
Okay.
glad you kept it for again.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really like that the trees look like a pattern too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're sort of, you can see that they're trees, but they also are this abstract, cool texture.
Yeah, yeah, very nice.
Well, excellent.
Nice
Thank you
work.
very much. That is the end of our agenda for today. I guess, Chelsea, can you just give us a rundown of sort of, we're not dissolving the committee. We still have more work to do, so.
Yes, so these designs will be presented at the June 13th city council meeting at 7 PM. Any one of you is welcome to attend. I believe Christopher's going to attend to kind of represent the committee from the committee side. Ruth, of course, will be there. I will be there. So the hope is that we get the city council to say, these all look great, let's move ahead with them, send them to the fabricator, because as you know, our timeline, that could have happened a month ago and it would have been great. So we want to move forward with that.
I also think maybe giving the council all 5 will help with the illusion of choice, you know, that
Sure.
they still get to
Yeah,
be a part of it.
right, yeah, right. And I have been keeping them, as I've told you, updated along the
Yeah.
process. Every time you've had a meeting with your slideshows, I've sent those out to the council most every meeting, I think, so that they could see how the process was going and it wouldn't be just, what are these things? We've never seen them. So hopefully that will help. And then I'll touch bases with our kind of our project managers and see where we are on the other projects and when we need to start making decisions. I think we still have decisions that we could be making, but we might be able to move to once a month. So I will reach out to you by email and after I get a timeline on that and see how that works for everyone.
What do we work on next?
So we have several other items. We've got the art to talk about, which is kind of far in the future, but we might want to come up for a plan of what we think we want to do to get that art, how that one's, you know, how we
And that's like
recommend to look at
that
it.
goes on the
The
plinths you're
plinths.
talking about, yeah.
There is the kiosk, so there's gonna be some design of the kiosk, what features do you want to go on the kiosk? It might not be something that we're gonna, here it is, we're gonna build it now because we're not there, but it might be good to have preliminary discussions. We've seen it kind of takes a while to get things going, although you're so used to working with each other now that I think part of it was just getting to know everyone, right? So, yeah, we'll look at that list. And then we also have some bus stops that are going to go in that
Oh,
we're
yeah.
thinking about doing as a more of a custom built feature instead of just picking the plain bus stops out of the catalog. So that might be something additional, but it's not art necessarily, but it's design and it's part of the design. So
The
the
public design.
right, so it's kind of like the design committee
Yes,
that
yes.
met, which we have several members of, would maybe carry on some of that, so.
Well, that's great.
I just want to compliment the two of you on leading this
Yeah, yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You did a wonderful job, especially imposing and adhering to those boundaries. You're getting really good at that.
Well, thank you. And I want to clarify, I do always enjoy everything
Oh,
everyone has
yes,
to say.
absolutely.
It just ODOT doesn't always
Yeah.
enjoy.
They don't work
us,
on the same
yeah.
timeline.
So, not to throw them under the
Yeah.
bus.
That's
but,
just how they work, right?
Can we ask a point of clarification for the city council?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So would you like us to actually present designs or create a deck for you to present?
I think what we
I think we
talked
talked about
yeah,
it.
was
and
if you want to present the art itself, and then
Mhm.
I'll just be there to speak on behalf, like, you know, if a city councilor is like,
Right.
how did the committee feel about this? I
Right.
can talk on behalf of the
Right.
committee, but if they're like, you know, oh, how will this design work, blah, 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 you can talk about that.
But it is up to you if you do not want to attend the
Yeah, we
meeting,
can go.
you're welcome
Okay.
to send it to
Yeah.
us.
No, we're
Either
good.
way.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is the right time to say this, but we have enjoyed working with you also a lot. We never did a project like this. We've never worked together and we've never.
Oh, wow.
we just-
Now you tell us.
And we realized we work well together and we also, enjoyed the feedback. It was actually excellent feedback every time we met to get to this point. The best client relationships are those that push you to do better each time, or that you have a dialogue and collaborate. And you all have done that, so I don't know.
Yeah.
We always comment on that, how
I'm sitting here racking my brain to think of something else we can do together.
Well, let us know.
And we may, there are some other features
Yeah.
that I think we'll be reaching back out to you for sure.
Yeah, we'd love to be part of some of the other
Mhm.
parts of this.
Yeah.
project.
Great.
You decide to start an earring line based on all.
Yeah,
the-
right.
Yeah.
I've
T-shirts
I've
and
turned
earrings,
about
yeah.
a half a dozen of them into earrings at this point. So if anybody wants any, I can bring up to the city council meeting.
Okay.
As-
Just pick your icon,
Yeah.
print it.
As
No,
a-
I'm serious, like, if you printed those, like, show up at the little farmer's market.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious, like, they're cute.
Anyway, yes, so thank you all around and thank you to everybody on this committee. Your time is valuable and we appreciate that you've spent it here. I know, we may have had a few moments of frustration, but I think overall, this has been an excellent group. And I'm really pleased with where we're at. So I do hope if you're able, you might be able to join the city council meeting on the 13th, but I also understand city council meetings are not always the most fun things to sit through, so no hard feelings if you can't make
Or
it.
watch it, it's on
Yes,
YouTube,
yes, it
live
is.
stream,
Yeah, if you wanna,
later.
sit at home and eat your popcorn,
Yep.
feel free.
I do have a question, because it
Yes.
was just brought up. So when these are done, who owns the designs? Is it Paloma or is it you guys?
Is that in a contract, or do we just kind of suss that out as we
So
go?
we own the intellectual property so that we can use them for our own promotions,
Yeah.
but you control the rights.
Interesting.
So promotions meaning like in our portfolio.
Sure.
You can put them on your
we'll
website or
show
something
them.
you've
But
done.
we can do whatever we want with that. Like,
Yeah.
we don't have to pay more money to like put it on a mural
On a
or put it
t-shirt
on a
or something.
bus or put it
In
on
its
like.
finished form.
Right, right. If
Right,
we want to
so-
like use the beaver, we might have to talk with
No,
them
we'd have
about
to discuss
that,
that
but
separately.
yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
But
I'm
in
just
finished
curious about-
form, yeah, they
Yeah.
belong to you.
And we will probably talk more about that as we come like the kiosk and
Yes.
everything,
Mhm.
but yeah. Well, perfect. Then I will adjourn the meeting
Yeah.
at, what time is it?
5:58.
5:58 PM. And I hope to see you all in June 13th.
Thank you.
Bye, General.
I just want to say that I hope to see you all on Sunday, next Sunday at the Paloma